Wait, I'm mistaken. Okay, we're live.
We'll be giving some exciting updates for the project and filling you all in on what we've been working so hard on behind the scenes, as well as, well, our launch window for Season 4. We will be holding a Q&A with all of you after we give you all of our updates, so be sure to drop any questions you have in the chat so that way we can sort through them and answer them once we get to that part. But just to remind everybody, let's reintroduce the admin team. So, as you guys already know, I'm Knickknack. I'm been a longtime fan of Neon Divide since Season 2, and I stepped into the GM role for the project with about, I want to say, 15 years of GMing experience, and have been pushing for the project's best since ever since I've been onboarded, honestly. And this is Bucky.
Hi, for those people who don't already know me, I joined Neon Divide in Season 3 as an Upper City cast member and eventually became a Season 3.5 GM and a Season 4 Union Heights GM. I've been a longtime role player with 6 years of virtual roleplay experience across various groups and themes, and I've been working in the VR industry as a developer and producer for the past 7 years. I was brought onto the admin team by popular vote during the change of leadership last August and have been working to help organize the project as a whole and get Virtual Nexus, Union Heights, and Season 4 up and running, alongside working with the community team to keep things going. And I'll pass it off to Oblivious.
Hi, I'm Oblivious. I am a Twitch streamer, role player, and self taught game dev with 6 years of experience developing content for VRChat. I have founded and maintained a number of VRChat based roleplay projects throughout VR space, and I have extensive community experience. Or extensive experience in community management and moderation. I oversee our dev team and provide access to a lot of my experiences and knowledge from basically building multiple projects like this. That being said, I'll pass it over to HB.
Oh, hello everybody. My name is HB. I've been a longtime fan, the same as Knickknack is when it comes to Neon Divide, and I stepped up during the big change of leadership, the same as Bucky did. I have about, I'd say roughly about 13 years of role-playing experience overall, and one of my main aspects as an admin is to push for a healthy, supportive, as well as united role-playing and storytelling experience. With that, it's your turn, Chair.
All right. Well, hey everyone. I don't know if you guys have probably seen me around the roleplay here and there. I've been a part of it since Season 2. I am a longtime actor, filmmaker, and passionate staff member of Neon Divide. I joined back in cast Season 2 and contributed my way onto staff after Season 2. Wanted to really just dive in and help out the project as much as I can wherever I could. I am now a GM for Union Heights. I was the Upper City GM for Season 3, but I will be Union Heights in Season 4. I'm also on the admin team, working alongside not only these guys, but the whole rest of the staff to ensure that Neon Divide and Virtual Nexus, our nonprofit, consistently pushes the limits of VRRP through all of our various teams.
Yeah. So a lot of folks, we talked about it previously in the last what was it, admin podcast. When we first came on board, we wanted to talk with folks, introduce ourselves that time. But just to, remind everybody why we have a new admin team in the first place. Last summer, there was a shakeup with the previous administration. So the staff as a whole decided that instead of admins being chosen internally by other admins or, various other aspects of the project, that they would like to decide, who at large was going to be leading them. So they ended up with the 5 of us. I stuck around for previous, administration, and everybody else here, got brought up. Since then, we've been, reestablishing the goals for ND and ensuring anything we do points towards a healthy, comfortable place for people to volunteer their valuable time and fantastic skills and, further legitimizing ourselves as Virtual Nexus and making sure Neon Divide itself prospers as a project. But speaking of that, let's talk more about Virtual Nexus.
Yeah. So, for those unfamiliar, Virtual Nexus is our nonprofit owned and run by the 5 of us, and it's a committee. We formed this to retain ownership of Neon Divide as a product and as a brand. Uh, what's different with Virtual Nexus compared with the previous ownership is that this is this is not specifically a for-profit LLC made for a sole individual. It is a non-profit operated by a committee of members, that being us. This means that we're all on the same level and that all of our voices have actual weight, ensuring that we're all on the same page as to what our objectives are and how we get there.
And of course, as to one of the big questions is why specifically a nonprofit? Running a role play of this size it's a lot. And when it comes to that, we want to make sure that money for the effort of our teams is there because we don't really want to have the entire situation of not paying our volunteers. We want to make sure that everybody is supported as best as we can, from dev to GMs to anybody else. We want to make sure that that's for the future of the profit is there. And of course, not just for us, but also for the entirety of, the community trying to make ourselves a better place. And when it comes to general of that, how do I say this? I think, Bucky, there's something that you wanted to also mention with your part.
Yeah, I mean, I can expand on it a little bit more. Like, by becoming a nonprofit, we're able to apply for grants and make all the donations from anyone who's supporting us tax deductible, which is great for anybody donating. It makes it easier for people to support the project in general. This does include some more paperwork on our end, but ideally it'll give us more funds to support our staff. And I guess the most important part about what Virtual Nexus kind of represents is our mission statement. And this is basically our promise to you guys from the nonprofit. So Virtual Nexus aims to produce and maintain one-of-a-kind roleplay experiences in virtual environments and become a knowledge hub and an inclusive and vibrant ecosystem where creators and enthusiasts can all come together to shape the future of virtual storytelling. While we really want to support indie moving forward, Virtual Nexus is working towards creating a hub for all things VR roleplay. Not just for us, but for other communities as well. We see that sharing tools and knowledge between all of the communities in VRChat will help raise the quality and visibility of all these communities together. Rather than just riding the wave by ourselves, we want to lift all boats and ride this wave together. Now, let's take a look back on the last year of ND, because it's been a while since we talked to you.
Yeah, specifically to summarize the last year of ND, I mean, we launched an extended epilogue for Season 3, aka Season 3.5. My players always tell me I love my 0.5s. Don't let them know about that, though. This was an opportunity for our characters to get back on their feet in the world of ND, since it had been a while since, well, Season 3, especially with all the shakeups and everything going on. Since we were still a ways away from the launch of Season 4, we wanted to make sure they had role play, because that's kind of the point. And from the looks of it, it was a massive success. Our cast wrapped up stories, set up new ones for Season 4, and all without really anyone dying.
Well, there was one person. Remember Speedy?
Speedy died?
Yeah? Forgot about that one?
Do we have a clip of Speedy? I don't remember Speedy dying. Is there a clip, Dogs?
I don't think he's got enough. Oh shit! Oh shit!
How did I not hear about this?
Yeah, that's...
Well, okay, I guess Speedy died, but you know what? I don't even...
He made it and then just... There he goes. There he goes.
There he went.
There he goes.
Rip Speedy. Rip my guy. We will miss him. Let's see.
You know, we could talk about the Upper City a little bit. There's some stuff that happened there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what happened in Upper City?
Well, honestly, we introduced a bunch of new villains and tried to wrap up any kind of last-minute projects before their departure to Union Heights, which we'll talk about more later. What about the Row? What happened to the Row?
I mean, the Row had to deal with a bunch of new gangs, and there was a murder investigation. They were finding body parts and stuff around, and I mean, there were some older, like, enemies and stuff popping up. The Puppet Master popped up and everything, And they even talked with some new folks who came around. There was a bunch of gangs at a meeting, for example. It was really exciting. And
Nice.
the Undercity, the Undercity began like they're prepping for political independence down there. They're going rogue, off the grid kind of.
Revolution.
Yeah, revolution. But they also discovered a hamster infestation down there that had organized. It was just like it was crazy. But they also had a fantastic festival down there. I think they called it the Spirit Festival. It was a good time. Apparently, all the characters were prepping for it and celebrated. It was a great time. But HB, the Wasteland had some stuff going on too. I mean, besides
Yeah.
Speedy's death,
Yeah,
obviously.
that definitely was an event specifically. If I remember, that actually happened, I think, in episode 1. So that was definitely a kickoff for the season. So,
Starting off strong.
but we did have things like the just strangely comprised adventurous guild that found itself just forming out of nowhere, beginning a treasure hunt. Then during the later half of the season, we did have a aerial rescue team sort of introducing themselves. So that's going to be interesting having them around. But then also dangerous sightings. We did have encounters with the Maw. Sometimes a little bit too dangerous and too close for some people. But one of the other things that was very intense, and that's going to be definitely interesting for next season, the return of Herc, who then proceeded to, down the line, kidnap the Sheriff Mercury. So we're going to see how that plotline ends. So
God,
I'm
Mercury's
already
out
ready
the
for that. I'm
Wasteland.
listen. I am excited for that one specifically. That's going to be a lot of fun to work with.
Well, 3.5 was pretty hectic for all of us, and I think everybody enjoyed it. We have been working on a few other cool things, and I think Chandler, you want to take us away with that?
Yeah. So now moving into what you guys are all here for, season 4. One of our really biggest hills that we've been trying to climb with this new season is our systems rework. We discovered a lot of things in season 3 and 3.5 with our current skills and progression system. Mainly that it wasn't exactly headed in the direction that we were wanting to take Neon Divide. So we are rebuilding it entirely from the ground up. The whole new system is going to include a entirely new skill tree with a bunch of different routes to go down that'll complement your character, a tag system, a way to mechanically give your character buffs and debuffs, allowing your edges and flaws to be more roleplay based. It's a whole bunch of stuff, and it sounds really confusing, but we promise that our guidelines for all these new systems is very well documented and will be very easy to understand when it's ready. Which we're getting pretty close, to be honest. We'll be posting a video closer to launch, breaking down the new character sheet, how it works, how to fill it out. But fear not, because character team is going to be reaching out to every single existing character to help get everyone's sheet migrated over to the new system. So working with you on these new character sheets will be obviously our character team and our game masters. And your GMs for season 4 are Nick. You want to walk us through?
Of course. So for the Upper City, we already have, or Union Heights rather. Apologies. We're cutting that out. I had to get you out of that habit. Union Heights. We already have 2 of them here. We've got Bucky here, playing. Was it Artyom? Artyom, right?
Yes,
there he is.
Artyom.
Yeah. We've got Cher here, of course, playing Luca. And of course, we don't want to forget Soma. Soma, who was Lieutenant Jonathan with Shometsu. So very exciting folks there. In the row, we've actually got Skiz, who played V4 in Undercity and was a GM in Undercity 3.5. So they'll be coming up to the row with us, and they've been wanting to explore some fantastic tech stories and stuff. Otherwise, we've got Zabson, who is one of our oldest members of Neon Divide, formerly Callus Row, and has been with us since I think season 1. So they've got a lot of knowledge on the world and what's happened and stuff like that. So very exciting knowledge there. And then of course we have Bryce. Bryce is a newer GM, but he's been around the GMing scene for a while. So we're going to be making sure he enjoys his time and he gives the players a fantastic time as well. He's super into like spooky and, horror-filled scenes and stuff like that, so it'll be a fun time. But for the Undercity, we've got, who is it? Friendly Explosion, of course. He's been one of our longtime fans and SEP for Season 3, Season 3.5. He was a GM with us, and he'll be moving to Season 4 with us as a GM. He's fantastic. He likes more grounded stories from what I've seen, likes the nitty-gritty gang stuff, and also willing to dip into a lot of the magical stuff, too. We also have RK, one of our sort of veteran players as well, stepping up into the GM role. playing Elliot, fantastic synthetic in our Undercity. Loved all the tech stuff. Did a lot of stuff at the black market down there, with all sorts of fun and characters and just stuff like that. That'll be a great time as a GM, I'm sure. Then we have one of our newer GMs also there, Meteon. So Meteon is fairly new to the community, but they were an SCP for us in season 3.5, I believe, and have been wanting to get involved further with the project. They even joined our community team and are also joining the GM team. So they really want to get involved and really want to tell stories of other players. But in Wasteland, I mean, there's a long-running and has been with us in season 2 veteran Willixer. He won't let go of that Wasteland. he will rather die than see himself be removed from there. So more crab father ahead. Then of course we've got HB down there. HB. I don't think I need to talk for him. He's been a long time pizza boy in Wasteland.
Yeah. Shot multiple times. Crabman occasionally. That was
Crabman
definitely
occasionally. Yeah, it's a
That's
good
true.
time down there. And of course, we've got Detroit Sentai, who played Kenneth in the row. But he has a lot of experience in the Wasteland, ironically enough. He's from our community, one of the sister projects, Neon Divide Alternative. And he will be, he used to be a GM for the Wasteland in that project as well. So he's taking a lot of that experience and bringing it over to us for season 4. But especially for season 4, there's one thing I know we talked about a lot, but let's talk about it a little more. Guys, what's going on with Upper City? We're going to Union Heights, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about it quite a bit in passing, but we haven't really done a deep dive. So hopefully we get to show you a little bit today, which will be awesome. To recap, though, Union Heights is where all of our Upper City characters move to at the end of Season 3.5. The map is currently in development, but brings vast improvements across the board, both under the hood and to what our cast will be interacting with in Season 4. It's a big change from the past dynamic for our corporate characters. They're no longer heads of their respective planetary corporate branches. Now they're just like everyone else. Pencil pushers working their 9 to 5 and trying to get by. With this change, we want to be able to help players advance their own personal stories as well as their corporations, whether they're working for it or against it. We've got a whole document that was posted last year about the change, so please feel free to check it out in the Discord. And I think we got a video too.
We do. Yes.
Ooh.
So here we have a big old building. with
Oh,
lots of
this
different
is
floors.
the occlusion.
That's the wrong one. Oh,
Yep.
We got a few videos to show you guys.
yeah, we do.
Yeah.
That's for later, not now. Gotta wait for that one a little bit.
Indie UH video. Yeah, there it is.
There you go.
Little sneak peek for all of you.
We got a lot on the table, so bear with us.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a lot to go through.
It's gonna be a
It's
conversation.
only been a year.
You're coming. That's definitely for sure.
Yeah, look at that beach.
That's right, we added the Tiki Bar. Tiki Bar confirmed.
The dev team has been working super hard on this, and it's so awesome to finally be able to showcase some of the developments.
Your style. I love it ever since I first saw it. It's gonna be very fun to play that map.
I love that meeting room. It's so good.
Love the servers.
Can't wait to break in there. I mean,
Organized data in there, yeah.
yeah.
Actually having functional places to RP in Upper City? No, never.
Oh, crazy. Insane.
We wanted to make sure we gave you a bunch of new places to explore and dive into. So stay tuned for more. We will be getting into a few things later on, but
A lot of new
Of course.
places to ski.
Yes. Also, thank you to Carl
Let's say
Casey over
thanks.
at Wipeout Audio for the backing music there. But yes.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of Dev, who are doing so much fantastic work on Union Heights, you want to talk about Dev a little bit, Oblivious?
Yeah, absolutely. We've been devoting quite a few resources, though not to say all of them, to developing this brand new map for you all. We wanted to try and give our Upper City players a new home that felt good to role play in. We've been working a lot on both back end systems as well as this map. You'll see a lot of these things, not just in Union Heights, but also across all of our maps. So, to kind of discuss some of these things, you've probably seen some of them on the recent Dev podcast, but to kind of go over some of them and give you guys some examples of things, we have our new audio systems that Chair Handler here has actually been helping out with. If you want to roll the clip.
Actor, voice actor, and audio engineer.
Wow, what can't he do?
What can he do, honestly? He's so dreamy.
So what you're hearing here is Foley. Lots of things that should be making sounds now make sounds.
Yes.
To make
This
the
will be
world feel
applied
immersive.
to all of our maps, and with some tech wizardry from our buddy Snowershine, we have managed to make sure that the performance impact of this update is minimal.
Please be advised, damages to both while deploying the
Yeah, I love that. I think it's actually right up here. There's the buzzing. Oh, that's
Yeah, the neon sign buzz. Yeah.
I had to put on every single sign.
A little bit of
Because- and not
little
only
bit
that,
of buzz.
every street light, every oh man, it
It's- I
took
mean,
a while.
From the sound, the feeling, just seeing that, it's worth it, honestly.
Yeah. It's those those like the last few percentage of work on the map to just make you feel really a part of it, and you're not even gonna really consciously notice, but it makes you feel more alive.
Yep, and the
Oh yeah, I forgot that happened.
yeah, that's it's gonna get a lot more green.
New ambience as well. So all the
Immersion
background
plus
ambience will
plus.
sound great. So if you have music turned off, then it'll sound better. Yay, air conditioner sounds. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to make sure that air conditioner runs, huh?
Yeah.
Especially nowadays. Oof.
One of our
warm.
focuses for this season has been immersion, trying to make sure that all of our players can feel immersed in the world. And rather than having the same kind of looping audio, we really, really wanted to try to make the world feel alive, make it feel like each area that you were walking into felt unique. And I think we've done pretty good about achieving that. So that being said, next up is our new weapons and weapon systems. We
Yeah.
have, I believe, a few pictures that were previously I don't want to say
Presented,
leaked,
yeah.
but yeah, they made their way onto the dev
Okay,
podcast.
all right, I admit it. I was the leaker. All right, I got super
God
excited.
damn it,
I can't help it.
Come
I
on,
can't help it. I
Nick.
can't help it. I want to
Thank
talk about it. Look, okay, look, the weapons are really cool. All right, because we had two
so
of our
cool.
fantastic
Yeah, they're great.
staff members and developers, modelers, whatever they want to call themselves. Mezzode was the one who developed our new row weapons, which you're looking at right now. They are fantastic, fit in world, are very nicely themed, and they have customizable bits on them. So that's going to be a part that players will be able to mess around with ideally. But if it doesn't happen in season 4, it'll happen eventually, and they'll be able to work with those things. But look at them. Look how cool they look.
Yeah.
Look at them. I love them.
Yes.
Those
One
are
of the other things that we've been working on, specifically for weapons, is for rifles. Deadly has worked very hard on a brand new sniper scope to make sure that if you're going for those long shots, it's not nearly impossible to hit.
It's actually
And,
functional.
Yeah.
Actually
scope.
functions.
I know.
Actual scope. You cannot believe it.
hmm
Yeah.
That being said, on the back end of things, we've also been working on a completely new custom occlusion system with Snow. He has been hard at work trying to crunch down on some of the tougher performance issues that we've found in the maps. And one of those ways is to try and make sure that if you're not looking at something, it's not being handled by your system. So if you want to roll the clip here, I believe Snow himself will actually explain it.
So here we have
Yeah,
a
let's
big old
go
building
Snow.
with lots of different floors.
Yeah.
we're going to head inside and catch an elevator.
That elevator system is so
We're going
cool.
to head up to the 10th floor. So, as you can imagine, 12 different floors with lots of rooms in each would be quite a lot to render at once. But fortunately, we have a handy workaround. We've developed a system that allows us to disable all of the renderers and gliders of any area that you're not standing in, and we have full control over which areas are visible from each part of the map. This gives us far greater performance gains than Unity's built-in occlusion system.
Woohoo!
That's super cool.
Performance.
Performance, I think, is one of the key words I would say definitely for when it comes to anything from the newer maps, basically. Just making sure that it runs as smooth as possible for everybody on there.
Yeah.
Yes, even for those with lower end PCs, we want to make sure that they are able to roleplay comfortably in the space. That being said, also seen briefly during that clip, and unfortunately we don't have a full clip for you guys today, but Deadly has been working on new systems for both our elevators as well as entering and exiting maps via things like landing pads and other methods. Our goal was to try and make these things immersive and set up more unique spaces for people to enter in and exit maps, as well as create roleplay opportunities in even places like that awkward elevator ride. Have you ever been on one?
It's the worst
Yeah.
moment,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's great for RP. Great RP moment.
Yeah. That being said, Snow or Shine has also been working on a bunch of back-end editor tools for our devs. We can't show anything here, unfortunately, because it's a bunch of scripts, it's a bunch of code, and well, it's not really much to work with and look at. That being said, it has been a wonderful, wonderful addition to our tools on the back end. Our devs have been able to work in a non-destructive environment and basically make entire areas of the map without ever having to open up 3D modeling software. We're able to reuse as many assets as we can and try to basically make unique spaces out of these without running into performance issues. He has also worked on a bunch of systems with our lighting systems, making it easier for individual members of our team to contribute to parts of the map without having to completely rebake or completely import entire sections of the map, which takes up a lot of time, which slows down development speed. It's been a ton of work, but things are coming along well, and especially with these additions, it's going along smoothly. That being said, I also want to point out some of our talented devs that we now have on the team. As I said before, we have Snow or Shine, our lead dev. We also have Deadly Donor, Xpolar, Sizzle, Sentinel, Snowbreeze, Cotton, The Silent One, Seamoz, and Skizbot. Everybody has contributed something, whether it be scripting, lighting, 3D modeling, or map work.
Yep, it's certainly been a lot of work to get to this point, but I know everybody's asking it because we've been talking nonstop about it. But the big question is, when is season 4, right? Well, I'm proud to announce that our current target window for launch is fall 2024.
Woo!
Yeah.
It's vague. It's a vague window still, but
waiting.
it's closer than what we had. It's closer than what we had. I swear. Here, you wanna give some details a little bit?
Yeah.
Before you get into that chair, I do gotta run. Unfortunately, I gotta get back to a few other things. But it's been awesome to catch up with all you guys, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the podcast.
Love it.
Take care, everybody.
So now we gotta do awkward couch shuffle now.
Yep.
That's fine. You get to have this couch for yourself. Come on, I'll scoot up to you,
okay.
buddy. Come here, come here, my love.
Oh wow, I see how it is.
boy,
Man.
yeah.
Just don't want to sit next to me. That's cool. Whatever.
It's fine. Now you can
Oh,
lean
man.
back.
Yeah, you
True,
can lean
yes.
back and get into it. Yeah. Nah, but let's get into it.
Yes,
People want
yes.
to know.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay. So fall 2024. It's a big kind of window of time, but it gives dev enough time to finish Union Heights. Allows all of the maps to be updated and good to go, like that audio system you're looking at, and character team enough time to finish the system rework. that isn't to say that there won't be stuff happening between now and then. In late summer 2024, we'll begin updating all of the characters to the new system. So that means, like I was talking about earlier, you'll get the reach out from character team, and we'll be migrating all your stuff to the new system. You'll learn how it works, all that stuff. Now, soon after all of our current characters have been updated, we'll open up character submissions, allow new people to come and join the roleplay. Now, if you do want to be a part of Neon Divide's cast, join the Discord, familiarize yourself with the maps, the lore, start coming up with a fun backstory, and hang tight until we post instructions. Just keep your pings on so you don't miss anything. Now, I know it's far away, but we do still have some fun things in store for you to keep you busy until Season 4. So, in between now and then, we have plenty of events to keep you active in the community. We have non-canon nights, we have community hangouts, runner nights, and our GMs, we've been brewing up some pretty awesome encounters that are going to keep you on your toes. So make sure to sign up for those when they're announced. They're like, fun one-shot mission type things. It's so much fun.
Tons of fun.
Yeah. And we're also going to have a booth at I can never pronounce it correctly.
Project Fest? I'm going to go Project Fest.
Yes, Project Fest. It's next Friday, June 28th to July 7th, a whole week of VRChat Community Festival events. We're going to have a booth there, so come by and say hi. And the link to join the group and follow these events will be posted after the podcast. And HB, you want to talk us through NDA?
Yeah, no, of course. One of the main aspects also when it comes to ND that we have currently here is the fact that, again, it takes a while for the season to get ready. There are other options, though, when it comes to that. If do you love Neon Divide, do you want to perhaps take part in roleplay? There is one available. That being our sister project, as previously mentioned, Neon Divide Alternative. When it comes to Neon Divide Alternative, it happens in a alternate universe that, if I remember correctly, as a previous member of the project, basically cut off from the point of Season 2 and basically split off in their own sort of separate timeline. Where same in the main RP of Neon Divide, you can join the project, get yourself more accustomed, join an SCP, and then once you go through the entire process, you can also apply as a player character. And we all want to also understand that there are some names in the Neon Divide Alternative Discord that you can reach out to when it comes to wanting to join the entire project and also getting yourself more information. These people being, of course, the showrunners, Snicklefritz, Expoler, and Worthless VR. They are in our community discords and if I remember correctly, it's in our community Discord. We also have invites for NDA, if I remember.
I believe they also made a post, but if you need to reach out or can't find the link, you can reach out to any one of those 3 members. The big thing about NDA is that they're willing to accept anyone of any experience level. If you're new to roleplay, if you're just getting into the VRP scene, it's a great place to start. It's a great place to dive into the world of NDA. It is a different timeline, but they still encounter a lot of the same things that we do, story-wise, theme-wise, and they're a fantastic group of people to roleplay with. I've roleplayed with them. HB roleplays there. I know of a lot of our cast are there as well, so it's a great, if you roleplay there, you roleplay with us. It's same community.
They roleplay in all of the same maps we upload to the public after each season, and all the same, their own unique systems and own ways of doing things. But they try to keep it as in line with how we do things as much as they can.
Yeah. But let's see. That's
some merch, right?
Yeah, we got some merch and media stuff going on. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna take the lead when it comes to the media stuff, when it comes to everything like that. When it comes to the Season 4 trailer, that would be right here. We do not have a Season 4 trailer yet, so I'm sorry when it comes to that.
We're working on it.
It is definitely a work in progress when it comes to that. We do, again, expect to have a full-on trailer to be more when it comes to closer to the potential release date of Season 4. One of the other things is also to make these trailers, and of course for us to sort of, again, show off the project, and of course show off yourself as the people who are playing the project.
Yeah,
we would want to have also, we want to have one thing available, if people want to give us that, it's promotional material. You can assist us in giving us your clips, your VODs, anything like that to help sort of give us a little bit of a portfolio which we can cut together to, again, make smaller trailers, get smaller information out, and just, of course, send it out to the general people we also want to work on when it comes to the, also when it comes to, like, the, like the LSE and everything, the free, sorry, I keep on slipping on the word. What did we call it again? That's the German in me speaking right now.
Not the non-profit
The
version.
non-profit. There you go. I'm sorry. Pardon me. But when it comes to that still, what is important is for us, of course, to have everything on the same quality level. Here are one of the, I'm going to mention this. I will make a separate post in the Discord later within the cast as well as the community Discord. The clip specifically should be in the following format. In 180p,
It would
perhaps
be 1080, I think. 1080.
Sorry, that was my own notes that I fucked
No,
up.
yeah.
Sorry. I was like, yeah, actually, you know
Hopefully
what?
not
Let's just
180p.
compress that stuff. I'm sorry. No, 1080p. No big sort of overwhelming stream UI. If you have the normal Neon Divide UI that we have, we can absolutely, that's fully fine. Minimum of 30 FPS, if not higher possible. And of course, for the sake of it, while this is definitely an RP that has mature themes, we'd prefer that in the clips, VODs that you send, no immediate, like, 18 plus content, please. When it comes to also another thing, when it comes to Media Project, which I've been very excited about, is due to the talent that we have at hand with Media Team, we are also working on creating smaller film projects. Specifically, one of the internal projects that we were talking about is one that we've dubbed internally Project Salem. What we're trying to do with this project specifically is to dive not just in the general aspect of the world of Neon Divide, the wonders, in this case, the horrors. So we do have a small little teaser prepared, so you could play that.
It's sick.
It is pretty cool.
Disciple 5, Oxide. Give me a sit rep, over. We're starting our patrol east along the canyon. North side access road, over. Copy that, Disciple 5. Oxide out. Disciple 5, Oxide. Give me a sit rep, over.
Yeah,
we've been-
so sick. It's so
Media-
good.
Scary. Oh my goodness.
Media
So
Team
good.
is definitely working on that, so be sure to check out that. Keep an ear open when it comes to Project Salem, and as it said, early 2025 should be around the time where we can get something done. But still, when it comes to merch, knick-knack.
Oh yeah. But before merch, I just want to say that looked like a lot of Masaru propaganda. I'm just saying, I don't know about anybody else, but
Sure, but they do have a point. They
do
definitely
got
need
a
to
point.
they need to secure some of these creatures.
secure, contain them, maybe even protect them. I don't know.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of
A
column
little
B.
column A and B.
Yeah.
For merch, so we have a current merch store, and it's been serving us well, but we want to find a more, how do I put it, an easier to use, easier for us and for you guys to, get quality designs, quality products, and stuff like that with our merch and our new designs and stuff like that hopefully we'll be putting out soon. So we're going to be looking for a new platform, but if you guys are still interested in any merchandise we have the t-shirts, lovely designs of all the corporate logos on them. The Wasteland Sandworm design I know is really cool. The Spirit mug was really cool. I know I have one of those and stuff like that. But one of the big things too is with the virtual Nexus and being able to support our staff and such, a wheel of that is merchandise to help support that and pay, royalties and commission fees and stuff to artists and designers. So if you are a designer or an artist, we would gladly, ask for you to step up and, if you want to reach out to us and get paid for fantastic work to help with ND and, all that, we would love to see you, So if you are interested, reach out to HB. Yeah.
You can either reach out to me or specifically when it comes to media team, they're sort of also in itself assisting me in the entire matter, be either me or OSL.
Gotcha. Yeah. But speaking of community, we wanted to talk to you guys a bit more about communication, and HB has been very prevalent about it, and he wants to make sure that he goes over all of our standards about that. So go ahead, HB.
Yes, specifically when it comes to the entire asking of communication, it has been definitely a problem with ND, and we're desperately and trying our best to change that. In the future, we of course want to make sure to give as many updates as possible, specifically also, especially when the closer we get to Season 4, we want to have as many, keep you guys in the loop as quickly and as often as possible. Of course, now we're going to try to get ourselves, slowly started up when it comes to the communication aspect. Don't expect the immediately, drop after drop after drop when it comes to announcements, but we definitely want to make sure to keep you on the loop. One of these aspects, for example, are lore drops, specifically when it comes to the general world, the understanding of the world. We want to make sure that not just, the GMs, but of course also the players are fully understanding of what is going to happen when you dive into the world of Neon Divide. In this case, for example, when it comes to lore drops, you want to make sure that they are comprised in itself normal docs and, get them out as soon as possible. When it comes to the entire aspect of that, we will want to make sure that they're accessible not just to us, but also, of course, to the players. And the other one that's also one of the most important thing when it comes to staff is the just general staff update. I think there's been definitely in the last couple of months, definitely sometimes, the thought or the voice in the back of somebody is like, is this project still alive? Are we still kicking? It's like, yes, we are. We're definitely still working.
Meetings every day.
Believe
People
me,
working on it all the time. Yeah.
They kicked me down to 5
lot.
meetings. 5 meetings a week, rather. Oh, God.
But one of the aspects we want to make sure also to have that sort of things to, how do I say this? Bring in the support for the project. And one of these ways to support the project is the Patreon that we do have. So one of the ideas that we had is to have some of these docs available, for example, on the Patreon. And of course, also updates when it comes to future things such as the skill rework and everything like that. So smaller bite-sized updates on the Patreon. Now, before you start screaming, don't worry. Does that mean you as a player, you as a cast member, as an SCP, do you need to be subscribed to the Patreon to get these updates? No. Do not worry. Don't get a heart attack. I will explain to you now the pipeline of content, how it's basically going to work. It's going to start, of course, in staff. We're going to look over everything, make sure everything is kosher, and then we'll bring it out to the Patreon. Simultaneously then to the cast. Once it is in the cast, you can look into it, work with it as much as you want, think about some other things when it comes to storytelling, build your own little story when it comes to that. And then once it's done, once it's out on the Patreon and the cast, over the course of, let's say, 1 or 2 weeks, maybe 3, then it's going to be brought into the community. Once it's there, then everybody can look at it. So basically, you can, if you're subscribed to the Patreon, could use this sort of little bit of an insider scoop what's happening.
Yeah. But I think that's about everything, isn't it? We got community updates, dev updates, and that's everything. All right. I guess we can go to Q&A. Don't worry, we have been logging your questions with the Q&A here. So, Skiz, do you want to hit us with your first question that we have lined up here, if possible?
Yeah. So earlier, Ruin Paladin in chat had a question regarding the skill reworks. What sort of support do we have for high-level deckers coming forward?
Yeah, that is a great question, and I'm sure Chair can talk about it, but I'd be more than willing to talk about it too. What do you think, Chair?
Yeah. Well, so for our skill rework, we're thinking of every character, right? We're taking everyone into consideration, trying to make sure that this system is going to work with everyone. We've actually gone through and done mock-up character sheets on some of the toughest characters that we thought possible. I believe, did we do one for BR16?
I don't think we've done one yet, but that was one of the ones that was on the doc.
Yeah, it definitely is. we've done them for a bunch of characters that we thought were going to be impossible, and it actually made it
You've
easier.
made some beasts. I'll give you that,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know one of the
but,
biggest worries with the reworks and stuff too was that, oh, they're just nerfing everybody. Oh, they're just, they're just downgrading everybody. Blah, 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 blah. But actually, through a lot of the testing we've done through the character sheets, people have actually had more space for more stuff. So it's less of a debuff or a downgrade or any of that sort, and more of a fixing and uplifting, making things a lot more consistent is one of the bigger things as well. But yeah, sorry, Chair, to kind of step in there too.
No. It's a great point. I mean, the big idea is to make sure that there's more room for role play based like mechanic stuff on your sheet. So that meaning like all of the specific buffs or debuffs or whatever is taken care of in the skill tree and in the tag system and everything. That way, like, you have your edges and flaws to really explore the role play side of your character and not have to worry about, I have to think of more ways to mechanically debuff my character. It's less of that and more just role play oriented and focused.
Yeah, but to kind of get back to the heart of the question there, for decking specifically, I know Oblivious has been watching it like a hawk because they are very specifically into decking. That's their whole shtick. We've actually...
I want to break into those servers room, Knick-Knack.
It's true, it's true. For decking specifically, and for skills in general, we've tried to break the branches into 3 or 4 branches each for each skill that we had originally. So decking, combat, medical... Mechanica, Arcana, all those, and rather than being sort of a generalized category, now have subcategories and specialization routes that you can take in them to do different aspects of the original skill. So rather than decking just being the skill that opens the door, like, it used to be, let's be frank, or mess with technology by RPing slamming on a keyboard. There's a lot more to it. We have systems that we're going to be working on for it to not only do the door hacking, but also get information and make data chips that you'll be able to put into synthetic characters or characters with like a lot of cybernetics in them to buff them and get them, sort of like giving them like a stim or a potion for a buff or something, but specifically for cybernetic or synthetic characters. And then I believe the other tree I'm forgetting off the top of my head, it was
Homunculi?
No, that was the medical stuff, but I'm trying to think of decking specifically. We had 4 of them. I'm just forgetting the last
right. Yeah. We have a lot, basically.
There's a lot.
Yes.
But we have plenty for decking characters, more than ahead, rather than just being the I find information on the computer or I open the door, skill. We definitely expanded on that quite a bit. But yeah, so Skiz, do you have the next question?
Yeah, so back when we were looking at the new weapons and hearing about customization for them, Mana Minera wanted to ask, will they be color changeable?
Yes, they will. Each guns set that we have shown off here actually comes in a neutral color scheme and a color scheme for each corporation. We want to make sure that if a corporation is holding a weapon, it should also be probably colored to them if they bought it for their corporation, or if it's just, something you have baseline for, selling guns. If you want to sell a gun in a different color, you can sell in a different color. So Valkyrie will have red guns and, Nirvana will have green guns. Avalon. I haven't used an old name for so long. Avalon.
Hey, slipping up here.
I know. I
am.
Jeez, I don't know where that one even came from. Yeah, they will have not only physical customizations, but also color customizations as well. But yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah. So earlier, Solus asked, what else is new besides the occlusion demo? Any major system changes?
Oh, that one's up Oblivious's alley for sure.
Yeah, so as far as systems go, a lot of our changes are going to be dependent on what character team brings us. We're already working with a few systems to try and make them more flexible, as well as trying to, again, our focus has been mostly on the new map, but we're also working on newer systems to try and build up the immersiveness of our maps and trying to make them more fleshed out spaces to role play within. We have been expanding upon the menu system that Phase Dragon so lovingly worked on for us. But as far as like direct new systems, we don't really have too much that we can talk about yet until character team basically helps us to finalize what they want.
Fair enough. I know we do have that new audio system that was in line with chair stuff as well, but we also have like audio occlusion sort of things going on, right? If I recall.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you could kind of see that with the video that we had from the Foley demo. Basically making it so that way, if you walk past a specific doorway into another area, you won't. You're suddenly not hearing the outdoor ambience anymore. You're hearing what should be inside of that building, and so on and so forth.
And making sure that the sounds don't bleed, through walls and whatnot. It's part of the audio occlusion. So, when you're in that, tall apartment complex, you're not going to hear the person below you or their TV below you. It's going to be all the stuff that you expect to be hearing, which is just the things around you.
Yes,
You can,
and
you
this
can see.
is a system that we've also been working on specifically for player voices as well. So that way, when someone's talking and they're on the other side of a wall, you can't hear them, or at least they'll be muffled. No more hearing your next door neighbor in the apartment over, yelling about their dog.
Yeah, that's certainly. I wouldn't want to hear that. But yeah, any other questions?
We have one from Just Taven. How will your support for other VR communities work with your new initiative? Will there be a new Discord server or a subreddit to serve as a hub? I'm
That's
assuming
a
for
Yeah, for virtual Nexus.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think we'd ideally like to do both. There is a server out there, for example, for like the metaverse called the VRRP scheduling Discord, if I recall
Yes,
exactly.
actually run by the
You know.
Silent One of our devs.
Yeah, fantastic
there you go.
place, and I love how it's ran, how it's set up, and honestly, we might want to set up something just like that. Definitely something in the cards, similar. We definitely want to offer more tools, a place for you to promote your roleplay project, and ideally get everybody in the same spot, so that way you're never not sure of what you're doing in VRRP, because one of the biggest issues that I see all the time in the VRRP space is just not knowing what's out there. What metaverse lobbies are going on, what closed RP projects can I apply to. You only really hear about them word of mouth or in various role plays you go to and stuff, and it's kind of weird tribal knowledge as you jump around. So we definitely want to fix that as one of the biggest issues for the community, if possible. So a Discord or a subreddit is definitely a great idea for that, and we really appreciate that input.
Yeah, it's we have talked about it, about expanding virtual Nexus, and that is the long-term goal, is to support VRRP projects across the board. Right now, our focus is obviously Neon Divide and getting season 4 off the ground. Once Neon Divide is in kind of a solid enough place where we aren't spending multiple almost years between seasons.
God, yeah.
then we'll be in a place where we can spend time and resources into building up these other projects. So it's absolutely in the cards and absolutely in our long-term plan for Virtual Nexus, and something that we're really stoked about doing and getting involved with.
A follow-up question from Tukis. I'm not sorry for bad pronunciation there. Are there going to be any more community events outside of VRChat?
We definitely want to do so. Definitely want to see that happen. I know one of the things we used to do was the artist hangout back in the community Discord. That was run fantastically by our former staff member Bushboy, a fantastic Australian artist who still does music work and fan tracks for ND, if I recall. You can find their work on Spotify and all that jazz. Just plugging them real quick. But we definitely want to do more stuff with that. Right now, we're trying to get everything sort of figured out for season 4. And once season 4 happens, once we're all sort of settled in with season 4 and how we want to run it and stuff, we definitely want to just do more with the community 100%, including the people in the community Discord, because the NCNs, for example, are sort of mostly cast, but we definitely want to expand past just, because they're not just the only part of our community. We definitely want to, hang out and chat and, do fun stuff with the rest of the community too, and such. But yeah, a very good question in that part. Let's see. Anything else? I see we have a lot of meme questions stored up.
We did have a question from Manamanera again. Is there going to be a Krilk store in Union Heights?
Krilk is a non-official corporate product and can only be found organically grown and raised in the wasteland. So you have to.
Yeah, that's our problem.
Yeah, that's Wasteland's problem. I don't think Chair or Bucky or Sama want to deal with that whatsoever.
Nope.
No, we're trying to contain that in our own little space.
And then from Red, Red wanted to ask, why are you guys so hot and cool?
Well, I'm cringe and ugly and such, so I don't know where that's coming from. But Chair, you've seen his face. Look at him. Look at that guy.
This is my real face.
That's his real face.
Yes. Oh, yeah,
like,
no.
That's like scanned in. Like
Yep.
that looks really good. He looks just like that guy. Like
It's very
100%.
true. Yes. Yeah.
100%. But I mean, if I had to put anyone as hot and cool, I mean, it's you guys. You're hot and cool. I love you. Hot and cool guys.
Yeah, I'm ugly
Damn
as
right.
shit. No, I agree.
Damn right. Yes.
Actually, one more real question.
Okay,
from
one more real
Solus.
question.
Oh, of course.
On the subject of testing with the character sheets, what sort of things are being tested in the context of character sheets from the system changes, and how are they being tested?
We are currently trying to see if we can convert characters into the new system mostly, because one of the biggest things is some character edges and flaws are being translated to the new character sheet and systems and stuff like that. Some of them are just, actually, because one of the big things with it is reducing the amount of edges and flaws your character actually needs, making them more roleplay focused and less mechanically charged. So that way your character is more interesting than just, jumping or running or, I take more damage here or whatever it is. So we want to take some of those and sort of take them mechanically, turn them into something so that way you have more room for your character to be more interesting than just I'm a bunch of mechanics and then, walk around like that. So that's one of the bigger things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
We are still getting a couple more questions in. I don't know how long you guys want to.
No, we're good.
Answer questions for.
I mean, I'm good. I mean, I got.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
2 a.m. for me. I'm good.
I am, yeah.
That's
I've
the
got
beauty of being a European admin for U.S. projects. I'm good.
I'm good.
One from
That's
Gavir is what are some good examples of the skills breakdowns for skills that would be harder to determine, like medicine and technica?
I think they
considering
mean
that's something that
Mechanica.
Oh yeah, Mechanica. Seeing as
yeah.
some of them are broken up into multiple 3 sub skills.
Yeah. So for medical, for example, medical has probably one of the bigger shakeups. For the longest while, it was just the healing skill. You rolled medical, you healed somebody, you moved on. But we wanted to do more with medical because there's more to medical than just doing medicine or healing. There's also there was stuff in there for stim creation or making buffs or debuffs or whatever it may be. So pharmacist is, I think, one of the dedicated ones, which gives positive buff stims and stuff. So we broke that into its own category and are expanding on that. We also have the other end of that spectrum called virologist, I believe, which is the other end where they're going to be making things. If you saw the rune system, it's kind of similar to that. They'll be making buff area zones of gas or gas zone grenades and stuff. Sorry, I'm really bad. I don't have the documentation in front of me. I should probably go get that pulled up. But that's kind of, and then the other field of it is, field medic, which is I heal but better, because the important thing is to know is that everybody in medical can still heal, but field medic will do it as a sort of a full buy-in. You will do medical even better, but everybody can still medical in the medical skill. And then there's splicer, which is we wanted to add bio enhancements as one of the big fields, because you have cybernetics and you have magical enchantments. But there were people wanting to do, stuff like super soldiery. I enhance my muscle fibers. I put on a bat arm or bat ears and stuff like that. And we wanted to make that a full thing. So that's a whole new system getting implemented in the medical as well. And Mechanica. Mechanica's kind of the same fields as it was. Weaponsmith, armorsmith, gadgeteer, which is like the grenades and such, and then roboticist, which is I make enhancements, cybernetics and stuff like that. So
the idea is that that's where you will like allocate your specific points is into those areas of like expertise.
Yeah. So pretty much sort of similar to what we had, but a lot more expanded, a lot more in depth, and a lot more options. So any other questions?
We had one from Conoco, which was, can we get any more info on how corporate runners will work?
Corporate runners
up in the
that'd
people who want to do
be-
runnings type things in Union Heights.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that
people-
would be a Union Heights specific question. But to kind of sum it up, where the runner network is the backhand, the under the table, runners in the dark. I'm gonna go mess with the corporations and stuff like that. Crow or corporate runner, or what is it? Corporate response operations. Yeah, you. I am just all over the place today.
It's all good. It's all good.
This is why we have 4 other admins. Are the sort of other side of that coin, where they're front-facing official, they're helping corporations with their issues, they're doing things that are sort of, you're putting a stop to a protest, you're running guard detail on a bunch of celebrities, you're doing these things that benefit the corporations for official status and benefits and, positive interactions with corporations, as it were. For corporate characters who want to buy into that stuff, or for characters who want to get good with the corporations. Because while it is a Union Heights, specific sort of faction, it doesn't mean that the Union Heights characters are the only ones who will buy into it. If you want to get goody-goody with corporations and you can hold a gun, Crows are really good opt-in to do that kind of stuff. And it'll be more mission stuff, just like the Runner Network. So that kind of sums it up exactly there.
A big kind of thing that I just want to mention is that we've heard a lot of the feedback from you guys from both season 3 and 3.5, which is that you guys aren't as big of fans of PvP.
PvP, yeah.
PvP. Yeah. And so we're taking that into account when we're designing missions and runs and everything else, that to minimize the amount of PvP scenarios as possible, unless you go out of your way to put yourself in a PvP scenario. We want to try to avoid writing stories as GMs. We want to avoid writing stories that put your character in a position where they're just in a PvP scenario. So I would say that's one big, not really change, but just one thing that we're kind of abiding by in designing missions and runs and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then
questions?
Another question from the Butter either the Butter Golem or the Butter Golem. I'm not sure. Question about the guns. Are there any other changes aside from the new tier of guns and the scope changes?
For gun balance, one of the big things is, rather than making it a sort of, you start at scrap weapons, then row weapons, then, corporate weapons, yada, yada, yada. So these progressively get better. What we wanted to do for the gun balance was sort of make it a line with positives and negatives for each category of weapons. So rather than going up and down the scale for power, you sort of have suites of specialization. So for the row weapons, there are sort of center line of, they do everything decent, but they don't do anything amazingly. So they're your zeroed line. This has good ammo capacity, good fire rate, good, accuracy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So for the Valkyrie weapons, for example, they have higher punching damage maybe, or a higher fire rate, but they have a lack of accuracy and all that other stuff. more ammo and stuff like that because the rounds are bigger or something like that. So it's a sort of, rather than straight A to B power scale, it's suites of specialization. That's one of the bigger things that comes with the weapon changes as well. Yeah. Any other questions? I see a lot of them scrolling by, but there's quite a bit.
I do. Okay. Here's a good one from Gavir just now.
Mhm.
Is for incorporating new players into the RP. There have been new ideas about starting new PCs as SCPs and how to get. But so, how do we get people who might not have friends in the RP able to join/participate?
Yeah, no problem. And HP can actually talk about this a bit more, I think,
Yeah,
than I
this was
could.
actually one of the systems that we're trying to implement for the future. Basically, it's still something that we're sort of, at least on the backside, still trying to properly test out and make sure to word it properly. But the idea is essentially that you, as someone who does not have somebody in the RP, can apply for the roleplay. In itself, it will basically be sort of a small document that you would fill out with player name, sort of like your experience in role plays, if you have any sort of role play, sort of existing credentials that you've done role plays in the past. Even if you have not done any role plays in the past, we'd absolutely still welcome you. Of course, we would look over, make sure that everything is okay. And if it fills out and we get to the point in the time where we can accept further players or SCPs, we can absolutely take you in. We would still, of course, have a small interview with you, either through chat or voice. And then once that is entirely completed, then we would get you into the cast.
Yep. So even if you don't know anyone in the project, we definitely still want a way for you to get involved and apply and get involved and, go up the ranks. Because one of the biggest things that we want to change is rather than just randomly getting characters in from, people jumping in, is to make sure that our supporting cast players are rewarded for their time and their effort and assisting us with their, time and assistance and role-playing power. So we definitely want to elevate them to characters when possible. So it's sort of a pipeline that goes from getting in, becoming an SCP, doing time as an SCP, and then becoming a player in our cast. As openings, really open up. And I think for Union Heights, we're going to have a good bit of openings here and there, along with the other maps. So
Yeah,
there's a
and
lot
honestly,
of opportunity.
being an SCP, like I've never seen anyone have more fun than those guys. Like,
Oh my God.
genuinely, like it is so much fun to just watch all of the SCPs. I'm sure there's a bunch in chat right now. Just watch just all of the fun, crazy stuff that you guys come up with. It's some of the most creative things that I see sometimes anyone really do in the RP comes from you guys, and it's so cool, so fun to watch. And so there's no shame in being an SCP. Like it is a blast. It's awesome.
I say it multiple times over my time being in ND. When it comes to being an SCP, it's the players absolutely add something, but I think I can safely say without the SCPs, it would only be half as fun. I can absolutely say that.
100%.
Part of the lifeblood. They're part of the lifeblood for this project.
Yeah, we want to make sure we treat our SCPs very well, and we want to make sure that they're having as much fun as our players. Because the reason why we changed the name from like NPC or supporting cast or whatever whatever it may be is to make sure that player is in there. Supporting cast player. You are a player as much as a character player is, or a player, player character, whatever label you want to put on it. You guys are still players, so we want to make sure you're having as much fun as anyone else in the project, including the GMs, the player characters, and everyone else. So if you're not having fun, then we're not doing our job correctly. So we want to make sure we empower you and get you supported and make sure you're having fun in the role play space. One of the biggest things we started experimenting with, thanks to various other examples, like Warp was a great example, was facilitators, where they had sort of characters that were planted in to specifically assist the GMs with big important stories and stuff like that. And that's one of the biggest examples I can think off the top of my head, where we want to take those examples and follow through with them and integrate them into how we work with supporting cast. So
learning from not only what we do here in Neon Divide, but also learning from what's happening across the community, really.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's definitely making sure that we keep our ear to the ground when it comes to certain things, because as much as we definitely make progress on a lot of things, sometimes there comes that idea from another project and we're like, that could absolutely benefit the entirety of everybody. So we just basically do our own research on the entire matter, and if it's good,
Yeah.
no, we're absolutely looking into it and taking it.
There's all sorts of examples out there that we want to pull from and just use as inspiration for our own work, and to share those ideas with the rest of the VRRP community, that there are better or more interesting or different ways to go about how things are done in the VRRP space. Non-player character is sort of one of those terms that, while not wrong, we definitely want to change the mentality and the lookout on that, or how melee combat is handled, for example, in some spaces compared to others. That's always an interesting comparison, or how PvP is handled, or just a million ideas that we look at and try to show off as not the best examples, because there is no best example in roleplay, but for different ideas to be perpetuated throughout the space, because everybody does it different, everybody GM's different, everybody roleplays different, and we want to support that. So,
well, and every roleplay environment's going to need something a little bit different. What works for, say, Warp may not work as well for Neon Divide, and vice versa.
Exactly. So every role play is unique. Every role play needs different things. So the more ideas that are out there, the more interesting role plays that can happen. So, any other questions?
It's starting to slow down. We do have two more. Another one from Just Taven. Does Virtual Nexus have any sister projects besides Neon Divide affiliated with it? And I'd actually like to add a follow-up question on top of that. What is the plan for getting other projects involved with Virtual Nexus going forward?
Well, that is a very good question. The first thing we have to do, though, is make sure NT's off the ground before we really sort of dive back into Virtual Nexus fully. Also, there has been, I know we talked about it with the cast a little bit, a bit of a delay with paperwork. So we're kind of waiting on that paperwork to come in and finish up and stuff, so that way we can be fully supported and fully reach out and fully provide those resources and stuff. So we are established, but we're not quite there where we want to be to make sure that that support can be out there. But that is the plan moving forward.
We're still cleaning up house while we prep to invite friends over, you could say.
Yeah.
By all means.
I mean, the thing is if season 4, like, if we can't get it off the ground, then we have no credibility as for Virtual Nexus, So we want to really make sure that season 4 is really the best season of Neon Divide yet, which I think we can all pretty confidently say that it will be. And then once it's in a great place, move from there to bring up other projects.
Yeah, 100%. Any other questions?
And then a question from Cervicos. Since we saw the stuff about the guns, are there going to be any new wand elements for a prototype or refined? Or just changes about the wands?
Yes.
Yes,
actually.
We've been brewing on wands quite a bit.
Boy.
We got a lot to talk about wands. They're not quite ready yet, but there is a lot of work been going into that concept. So don't worry, we will have news once we're ready to show it. But
and on the dev side of things, there has been new models worked on for them. But again, we're still waiting on character team to finalize their plans before we start setting things into stone. And hopefully, once that happens, we'll be able to show you guys some more stuff.
Yeah. Just a little bit more to go on that one. Let's see. I know there's been some questions I've been seeing scroll by about, like, what is the new system? So we can give like a quick run through of what it's going to look like to sum it up, but we want to make sure that we're not putting out any sort of information that might change for players when the new actual system, once it's fully finalized, comes out there. That's the reason why we haven't been speaking too in depth on everything, because if we say something here and then it changes, we don't want to confuse people. But to kind of run through it real quick, Chair, do you want to just kind of roll through the process real fast as an example?
Yeah, well, I'll just touch on just like a couple of the main aspects that we have pretty much locked down. We have our tag system, which I had mentioned briefly earlier. The tag system is our replacement to like racial traits, right? Or racial edges or racial flaws. You'll have a number of tag like points that's not what we call it, but just for example. And you will take those points and allocate them to different buffs and debuffs, and you have to choose a certain amount of buffs and debuffs for your character. If you so choose, one of those buffs can be that you are opting into being a magic wielder, or you are opting into cybernetic enhancements, or you want to, do biological enhancements. It's all different like things to opt in based on that category. For our skill trees, so instead of allocating skill points like once every, you have a bunch of points to allocate and everything, and you get more every so often, but you don't really know what they mean or what they do. Like we were talking about earlier, you have all of these skill trees that have different levels of varying expertise, and that number in like that expertise will count towards the bigger branch. And it's the more I'm talking about this, the more I feel like I'm doing a terrible job at explaining it. It feels like a mess.
Let me see if I can jump in a little bit. Okay, so for the first part of your character, right? Because Chair talked about the tag system and stuff, and that is like the first step in the character creation, because this sort of defines what used to be racial edges and flaws. For like example, like the sea slugs used to have like water breathing and gelatinous skeletons, so they took less blunt damage or something like that, and yada yada yada. Or the mushrooms, or whatever racial defining features you had. This is sort of to make up for that system, so everybody has benefit from it, instead of certain characters who would build into, I'm one of these, so I have this, this, and this. But if you're a human guy, human guy doesn't get anything, because why would human guy get anything? But we want to make sure that was a fair field across the board, so that way everybody has access to these, so they are sort of RP implicit. If you have water breathing as a human guy, did you get an implement? Did you get a mutation? Did you get a cybernetic? Like, are you half, bred with another fish folk race or something like that? RP, justification makes mechanics for your character in the tag system, essentially. One of the other big things is, I know Chair talked about the opt-in to systems like Magic Caster or other such things. One of the big things there is that, Magic, while new, is fairly simple to do if you just mark checkbox yes on your character sheet back in the old system. So one of the big things we wanted to do was to make sure you still got benefits for being a spellcaster, but we didn't want to make the space just all full of magic casters. So it's a bit more of a buy-in, but ultimately, if you're a magic caster and you really want to focus on magic, it won't be any change to your character. So besides the tag system, the skill systems, we still have all of our general categories that we had previously: Arcana, Medical, Mechanica, Combat, which we call now Physique. What else? Survival is still around. Sycophanta, now called Influence.
Yes.
God, no
Great.
more hard to pronounce or type name.
Yes.
Influence. It's Influence now. And they each have around 3 to 4 trees each. Some of the harder ones, I think Survival is probably one of the hardest ones to think of stuff for. We have about 3, maybe 4 skills for that. We're still kind of touching on the 4th one. We might stick to 3 though. But so with that in mind, the current idea is you'll take 5 of those skill points and put them into whatever trees you want at a max of 3 skills per branch. So if you are going into fully decking, let's say for Oblivious's character, they could put 3 skill points into, I think it was Programmer, Infiltrator, and such and such and such, or whatever the points they would have for their character customization. You would get benefits from each tree, but for roles and such, we would use the max as the general category amount. So other than that, from skills, then we go into edges and flaws, and that's where GMs and character team work with you on that stuff. And then spells and other fun systems we have in store. So to roll it over as a general explanation of the system that we're planning on implementing. Oof. That was a lot of talking. Sorry.
It is also
did a
big
better
rework,
job than I did.
No, it's absolutely
There's a lot to
understandable.
talk about. There's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot in there, which is why we haven't been going super in depth. because I'll be real, I've been working on the system with character team and share for these ever since we brought it up, and it is
since the end of season 3. It's been
yeah,
like almost 2 years.
it's been a while.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah,
a big work in progress, but we're getting there.
But
We're
it will,
getting there.
kind of like I said earlier, though, it will be very well documented. It will be easy to read, easy to understand once we get all the kinks ironed out and everything is done, good to go. A lot of aspects are done and good to go, but we're going to work on a lot of ways to make it easy for everyone to interpret, understand, and learn the new system.
Absolutely. And of course, when the time comes, if there's still any problems that despite the entire documentation, GMs, CT, they will absolutely be there to also assist you.
Yeah. One thing I saw was, what was it? How long is season 4 going to run for? We're still kind of debating that internally, but I think the rough estimate was 24 to 30 episodes is what we were thinking, with a 1-month break in between about halfway into the season. So a lot more time to get into season and be in character and stuff compared to the previous season, I think, where we only had 21 episodes or so. Maybe 24, I forget.
Think so.
I think for season 3, I think it was 24. Yeah.
Yeah, so we definitely want to go either to that or more, ideally, for the season amount. But we also don't want to run our GMs ragged and such, and our teams, and because every week updating character sheets or changing things or map updates and stuff, we don't want to do any of that for our dev or our character or our GMs. So the 1-month break and making things easier for them is our highest priority.
Yeah, which is why it's important that we really get this system rework done right and done well. If we're gonna, if it's gonna last us for not only season 4, but through really, hopefully, until the end of the project, really, then we got to make sure it's good.
Yeah. Here, Chair, here's a question for you. I know it's not really related to the project anymore, but is there any news regarding the possible ND TV show?
Yes.
So I'll just be candid with you guys about this. So obviously we couldn't move forward with basically any of the stuff that was done for the show. What I will say about it is that it was like pretty sweet. Like we had 4 seasons of a show planned out, a potential spinoff. We had outlined every episode of the first season. We wrote the pilot. We shot a scene from the pilot, and yeah, it's kind of a bummer. There were other avenues that I was like really hoping to preserve, at least the work that I did on it, and ways that I can take it and reuse it and keep going into a different direction, maybe a comic book or something. But ultimately, I found that it's better to just hone in on the VRRP side of things and ensure that the actual base project survives and gets to season 4, before trying any sort of any extraneous adventures similar to for us at Virtual Nexus. We want to make sure that season 4 is really in the best place it can possibly be. We launch it and it's awesome, and then we can kind of go and explore other projects and other things. So
Yeah, sorry to throw that one at you all of a sudden, Chair, but I wanted to make sure
that
that one was kind of like laid out fully, so no one is like, I wonder if they're still working on the TV show or whatever it may be. Because let's all be honest, the TV show, while it was a cool idea, it's bit of a pipe dream. I'm not gonna say it isn't possible, but I'm also not gonna be gunning for it. It's
even now in the
a
project,
lot.
we do have big dreams, and we do have things in mind that we would wish to do. But we also, one thing we want to keep sure is to keep it realistic, and want to make sure, as Chair has already said multiple times, we want to get this project to work out to where we are, so we have a stable ground to work on. And as long as we don't have that, it doesn't really make much sense to like do these big extravagant type of ideas. So start from the ground up, and then we can think about anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
Swishy puts it really well in chat. Too big of a scope for our current reality. Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfectly put together, yeah.
But I think we've been running quite a bit here. We're almost at hour and a half. So we can check for a couple more questions and then send it off.
Yeah.
So as long as you guys have
Any other
time.
really good questions for us?
I'm not really seeing anything.
Oh, there's one from Manamanair. Did you guys
Okay.
eat today?
I ordered McDonald's because I realized I hadn't eaten before the podcast, so I, choked down a burger before.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I had a sandwich.
Next
Sandwich?
question. Yeah.
Next question on
Kaneko wants to know what the most spawned prop throughout the history of the RP is.
Probably the Geb Cube or the guns.
Yeah, Geb Cube and guns. I'd say.
Yeah.
I was about to say probably the
Geb Cube.
guns.
Yeah.
Guns
Either-
more than likely.
It's a good mix-up, probably. The Geb Cube for comedy, the guns for obvious.
Java wants to know how many sand in the wasteland. That's how he phrased it.
Well, okay, so if you want to
Yes.
find that out, HB will gladly guide you out there, and you can count each particle of sand, and
Absolutely.
you can let us
I
know.
will bring you out there in the wasteland. You can gladly start counting. I'll check in with you in when season 5 starts.
But I will say at least 2 cubic tons, at least. But yeah,
More than 3.
more than 3, definitely. But actually, you know what? Since there's not a big range of questions, we can actually go into the last parts here.
Yes.
Because we actually do want to talk a bit about how you can support the project if you want to. And, explain those for you guys. Most of you already know, but just so we're really clear, the best ways to help support the project. If you're still interested in supporting us, HB, do you want to start?
Yes, no, absolutely. I mean, in general, when it comes to supporting the project, even any sort of support works. Just making sure from, either one of the options would be to check out our Patreon and, make sure to Patreon, for example, as I mentioned beforehand, good way to get the early scoop on a lot of the information, system reworks, and everything like that. You can also check us out again where we are right now on our Twitch, as well as our TikTok, and of course on Twitter. And I mean, like I said, any support, word to mouth. So anything will help us out when it comes to the matter. But giving it over to you, Oblivious.
Yeah. We also keep our website, neondivide.com, up to date with a lot of our lore information. So if you're ever wondering, what is Neon Divide, if you're new here or if you're someone who's just now taking interest in the project, you can go there and find out a lot of information there, as well as on Spectre. It's software that we allow you to view characters live in map during roleplay. We're going to be doing our best to get that all up and running once the season starts, and you'll be able to view people's Twitch streams as well as wiki pages associated with that character with their token on the map.
Yeah, and if just watching Neon Divide isn't enough for you, you can join the project. We keep our channels updated in both the cast and community Discord for anyone wanting to get involved as cast, SCPs, or staff. So to be sure to check them all out. And if you are interested in joining staff and you think that you are right for something that you don't see, go ahead and reach out anyways. We'd love to hear from the many, many talented members of this community and helping find a role that fits all of you guys.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And, just a big thank you from us, the admin team, to you guys. Like, without you guys, ND wouldn't exist, It wouldn't be in the state it is in. It wouldn't be being able to continue as a role-play project. It wouldn't be, anything without you guys. Because our players, our cast, our community, and everyone involved in our staff make ND what it is. We really, really appreciate you for that. And for just because we don't do it very often, I did want to read off the names of the folks who are, supporting us on Patreon, because, their efforts help us, continue the project as well. And if you want to support us on Patreon, just right below the stream in our sort of about pages, you can find our Patreon link if you would like to help support us. But yeah, so we'll kind of I think everybody can help read off these as we go. But Taz, thank you so much for supporting the project. Silpha144, thank you so much for supporting the project. HB, you want to read off just a few of those?
Yes. I'm sorry
Passed
again.
on forward.
Sorry.
I
What do we
can-
off some of them?
I'm so
It's like,
sorry.
God, I love the fact that I'm just like, hey, HP, you want to
Hey.
off some of them? I'm like, damn, okay.
You could have gone anywhere else. I'm sorry. I didn't realize.
Gora, for example. Case Face, 5, wonderful, lovely, also part of the project, lovely lad. Friendly Explosion, lovely lad over here, Chandler Riggs.
Hey, that's me.
Schmoodle, Nevmos, and one of our fellow people that we have here, Dogs.
Thank you so much
Luca.
for supporting the project.
CJO, the 00007.
CJD.
D?
CJD.
That font makes
CJD.
it hard to see.
That might be on my
Triple
screen
O
again. Could be.
7.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
we
Oblivious.
had
Now's your turn.
Gimmick.
Oh, we've got Gimmick.
Mm.
Gimmick, thank you so much for supporting the project. Also, Meg R, thank you so much for your support. 0101, you too. Thank you so much for your support here. And Chrome Captor, thank you so much for your support. Nick Knack, do you want to roll us on out or chair?
The chair roll us on out.
Yeah,
Chair,
no,
roll
yeah.
us on
Yeah,
out
yeah.
with these last couple.
We got Chrome Capture. We got Nullmatic. Thank you guys so much. Blankety Blank. Thank you. Expolar, one of our wonderful devs. Thank you very much. And another one of our wonderful devs, the Deadly Donor. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you guys so much for supporting the
Genuinely.
project. It means everything. It helps. Well, not only the project continue, our staff continue all their hard work and stuff. And ideally with Virtual Nexus and all of that, we will be continuing with ND. Hopefully at least one more season. We'll see how we go from there. Let's get season 4 off the ground. But again, thank you to the staff for all their hard work and the community for all your patience. Let's make season 4 of Neon Divide the best yet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
yippee.
And
And
with
with-
that, that's all from us. Thank you so much.
And with that, everyone, give a nice wave as we are raiding Foxeldor, who's currently doing Metaverse roleplay.
Voxel
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah, that guy's cool.
Oh,
guys.
absolutely. Hitbox.
Bye-bye.
All right, we're getting ready. Take care, everyone.
Can I still see me? Can I?
There we go.
Can I still see?